And you know what Thursday is?
Radio Day.
Absolutely.
I love it. And whenever I see you, I'm just like, we're wrapping it up. We're wrapping it up. The week is done. And we get to talk about cars, but it's not just on the Spice Drive on Thursdays. Where else can we get to catch your car culture content?
Now, this is just a precursor to the big event, which is every Sunday at 6:30 p.m. on KTN Home.
Right.
So we have Cars with Big Boy Trev, and this week, actually, we have an amazing review, the Mercedes GLC. I'm telling you, you cannot miss to watch that show. It's got plenty of stuff. The car, amazing. I promise you, you're riding it. I'm going to make sure on Monday, we're going to link up and we're going to test that car as well.
With me?
Yes.
Are you serious?
Yes. You know, I mean, it's Monique. It's Monique and Trev. So
Look, I
it's
promise
good.
I'm going to be sanitized. I promise I'm going to have 2 masks. I'll have my own water. I'm not going to disturb you. I'm going to be nice.
Yes.
I'm just going to be there to provide sound. I'll just be there playing the good songs. But, also to see you keeping well, still working hard, doing the stuff you do. You walked in here with a mask. I know you were sanitizing and, keeping safe. How has the week been for you?
It's pretty difficult considering the number of people we've lost.
Right.
But there's hope. Always just make sure that you sanitize, wash your hands, cover your mouth and nose with the mask.
Right.
Extremely important because I see people just covering their mouth. I mean, you're breathing through your nose as well. So just make sure you do that. And also social distancing. If you're the kind of person who've been doing parties and things, you can, sort of relax, take a break, be at home for another 1 week or 2 weeks until the pandemic sort of eases out. Just be safe.
Right.
Your family needs you. Your friends need you.
Right.
And it's important for you to become safe. So long week, but we've been keeping safe, keeping busy, and making sure that everything is done and dandy.
Fantastic. Whenever I see you, I know I get to bring out my notebook and get my notes in. Let me tell you, I've been impressing a lot of my friends with all this car knowledge. You've been educating us. And today we're going to be talking about tires.
Tires today. Tires and batteries.
Not the ones around your belly.
No.
Not those ones.
Vehicle tires.
Right.
Specific vehicle tires. So I'm going to start this conversation with an incident that happened on Saturday. It's not an incident, but it was a situation. So I was driving on Mombasa Road at night. It was a bit wet. And a lorry just sort of came into my lane. So I had to brake. On braking, I realized actually the tires that I've been ignoring for a long time, they're semi-bald, meaning that they're worn off.
Right.
And it just rained a bit, created a danger for me. So, I was like, I need to change my tires. It's extremely important. And the reason is because the depth, the tread depth. You see the patterns on the tires?
Right.
Those treads were worn out. And when it reaches a certain point, the contact of the tire and the road is minimized, meaning that you can aquaplan. Aquaplan is something that we'll discuss later on. And basically, it will increase your braking distance, and chances of you hitting another vehicle are extremely high. So I thought today it would be just a good way of just introducing tires now that we are approaching the rainy season in the next 2 weeks. Yes.
Do you think people have adequate knowledge in what tires and where they can get quality tires in the 254?
Well, I could say not so much. There's so much variety at the moment, but it's also equally important to understand what type of tire you need for your car. And it's not rocket science. Every vehicle that you buy, be it new car or used car, when you open the driver's door, there is a sticker there. On the sticker, if you can decipher Japanese and now you have Google Translate, you can literally just scan it. It will tell you the different types of tire sizes recommended by the manufacturer for that car. So from a starting point, you're not too badly off. But the question is, where do you buy these tires? Where do you get the right tire for your car? Because the right tire also affects the safety of your car. The safe operation of your vehicle is extremely important for you as a driver and for your passengers. So it's extremely important. So for a start, everybody, if you're driving just a normal passenger car, there's a standard size, be it a rim 14 or rim 15. There are different types of tires for different categories. But I'm going to break it down very easily for everyone to understand. So if you're driving a Vitz, a Demio, those ones, entry level, probably your tire size should be about 14 or 15 inches. Okay. And those are standard tires. They're called passenger tires. They are designed, one, for fuel economy in mind. Two, they're designed also to enhance safety. Okay. And because these cars are not high-performance vehicles, they are sidewalls. Sidewalls are the gap between the rim and the outer surface of the tire. They are slightly higher to improve, the bounce effect. Basically, the tire absorbs all the imperfection of the road, making the ride comfortable. Okay? Now, for that particular type of tire, whenever you're going to search for a tire, say your tire is worn out, you need to ask, what is the best tire for our country? I remember a couple of weeks back I mentioned something about severity level. Severity level means the conditions our country is placed in as far as road, dust, basically the conditions, like our climate.
You broke down the scale.
Yes. We're on 25. So everybody who's importing a tire from whatever they're importing from, they have those recommendations. So they bring in a tire that's hardy and can last you a long time. Okay? Now, for those people who are buying those tires, again, tires are divided into 3 sections. So you have the high end, so the premium tires, so your Michelins, your Pirellis, your Bridgestones, okay, your Continentals. Then you have your mid tire, which are more affordable to the pocket. Probably have Nankan tires, Achilles, you have Nolan tires, and etc. Then you have your budget tires, which are bottom of the pile. They're not bad. They're good because they have good tread, but of course, the different characteristics makes it cheaper. So you have your Chinese tires, so the Linglongs and things like that. So it depends on where you want to be. But if you're going for budget, the Linglongs are fine. Okay? But if you want durability, because it comes as directly proportionate to the durability of the tire. So if you go for the mid-tire ones, probably they'll give you good service life. It will take care of your safety needs, and of course, it will last a bit longer. The higher profile tires, the ones that are a bit expensive, again, they'll give you longer life. So the Michelins and the Bridgestones, they'll give you 20,000 kilometers on a good stretch. So it depends on what you want.
And that's when you're driving your first car. The small car that takes you to the big car.
Correct.
You need to get the small car that takes you to the big car.
Yes.
You mentioned different tire brands.
Yes.
So you're not saying that the cost of the tire also equates to the best quality of your driving experience.
Correct.
It's not really about that.
No.
What is it about?
It's about the different characteristics, because tires have different characteristics. So you find an expensive tire would have a little bit of both, but it's too pricey. But then again, if you live in an era where there's a lot of competition, you find there's that mid tire range where the mid-tire manufacturers are trying to cramp in everything at an affordable price. So at the end of the day, it's all about affordability, and that's where those mid-tire brands come in. So Achilles, you'll find them Champion, they're all over the place. Nokian, there's one called Nokian from, I think, Slovenia. They're quite a number. And they're actually very good tires, and I think with the changing fortunes right now in the country, most people go for that. It's better to be safe than sorry. Okay? Then you have the high performance tires. So your Subaru boys, your BMWs, your Mercedes Benz. Now those ones have high, the tire sizes are slightly higher. So rim 17, 18, 19, even all the way to 20, depending on the car. Now those tires are very special because they have different grooves within the tires. They're called V-shaped grooves. Now the grooves there increase the surface area of contact, and they channel away water or moisture to ensure that the vehicle performs extremely well on any surface. They have a temperature rating because the faster you go, there's friction created by the tire and the road, so the tires tend to get hot. And that decreases the ability for the tire to hold during braking. So they have a higher temperature setting, they have a higher speed rating, and of course, the disadvantages, some of them come with low profile tires, very low profile.
Right.
Now, the problem is, low profile tires are fantastic if you live on a area where there's a highway, there are no bumps. It's fantastic.
We'll get there.
Yes. But if you live in areas where the roads are a little bit challenging, like Rongai and Syokimau, sorry guys, those who live there,
Right.
then it's going to be a problem because you're going to have bulges. So basically bulges happen. Have you seen a tire with a bulge on the side?
Got it.
The side wires, because of a lot of impact, it sort of break, and then the pressure sort of comes and extends to the weakest part of the tire. That is exactly what happens. So, that presents another danger because at high speed and at high temperature, there's a tendency of bursting, and that is a serious risk. So, I normally tell people if you're buying a car it's got low profile tires, try and get a slightly higher profile tire so that you're able to handle our roads and you're able to have the car still running as safe as possible.
Everyone wants their money's worth, and you want to make sure that you have quality tires.
Yes.
We're looking at grip, durability, and also, as you mentioned, you need to understand where you drive and what you drive. Huh?
Correct.
Don't underestimate or overestimate. But I've seen a comment here, and it's all about when you're choosing and you're looking for the best car experience, there's always these reviews that people find online. You know how people say, get that information online, and you can see there's a lot of paid ads. So you'll find lists of car tires to avoid and car tire brands to buy and the best ones that are value for your money.
Yes.
I'm not going to ask you to say the car tire brands to avoid, but let's talk about the brands that are top tier and value for money and the cost that we're looking at least three.
Top tire, number one. Known even in Formula One, Pirelli. Those ones are the best tires in the business, especially when it comes to high performance tires.
Right.
They are expensive, but the value you get is extremely high because they're built to last and built to give you the maximum grip. They don't fade as easily as the mid tire, the lower spec ones, and they're good. Bridgestone, another brand as well, very popular with high performance vehicles. So your Subarus are probably going to come with Bridgestones. And then also Michelin. Michelin is French, and a lot of European models like BMW, Mercedes-Benz will probably come with them. And of course, when you go to off-roading, because there's also a category of off-roading, the higher spec BF Goodrich K02, which amazing tire because it's a mix of highway and you can do a little bit of off-roading together. So also very, very high end for those bigger cars, and they do offer quite a lot. They're expensive, but what you get is absolute value for money. Now, if you go to mid-tire, we talk about mid-tire, there are many in the market, many. That's where the competition is. So that's where everybody will try and get a piece of it. So you have tires from South Asia. So you have your Achilles, Apollo, Champion. They are from Malaysia, that area. Okay. And also you have your Chinese tires like Westlake, which also come as very good mid-tire tires. Okay. From Europe, you have quite a number as well. Nokian and Nolkan, I think they come from Slovenia, because remember Eastern Europe also, they did a lot of manufacturing and they're cheaper than what you probably get with a BF Goodrich or a Michelin, and you still get good value. So they're all trickling in. So the benefit to the customer is you're able to choose, because not everybody has the amount of money to spend in buying a Michelin or a Pirelli, but you can get the same quality or slightly lower quality but with enhanced durability. So that's the value of having mid-tire tires. And then you have the budget tires. I will not say they are bad. They are okay because they have grip and they're there. But longevity is where it matters. So if you're buying a tire for short-term use, they're fine. But, depending on your circumstance, everybody has their own circumstance. If you're looking at, I need a tire that will just serve me for this period of time, and I know they're not the best, but they'll work, then you have your Linglongs and the Chinese ones, those ones. I don't want to mention too many names, but they're there. And I don't discourage anybody from not buying them. It depends on the situation, but just know that they won't last as long as probably what you get on a mid-tire or a top-spec kind of tire.
I love this. Factors to consider when buying tires. So when we're talking quality and performance, and first time, I'm trying to make sure that I buy the right thing. What should I be looking for?
Number one, look at the tread depth. Tread depth is extremely important. Now, tread depth, for those who don't know, when you look at your tire, there are patterns on the tire, and there's a depth, okay? Now, the standard recommended depth for that is 1.5 millimeters, okay? So it's probably about the size of like your fingernail, almost, okay? So the deeper the depth, the greater the surface area where there's contact with the road. And the benefits are that during any situation, the tire has the full surface to ensure that you're able to brake. The resistance is higher. But if your tires are bald or semi-bald, zimeisha, they call it kama ulimi, kama slippers. then the surface area is reduced. Therefore, if you encounter a situation where the road is slippery or wet, there are no channels where the water can be taken away from the contact surface to enable the vehicle to stop effectively. So again, very important to check the depth of that.
Tread depth.
Sidewall. The sidewall, like I mentioned earlier, is the distance between the inner circumference of the tire and the outer circumference. Okay? The sidewalls, like I mentioned earlier, they are the standard sidewalls, which are for normal cars or your Demios, your 15 and 16 inches. And then there are those high performance. They have very narrow sidewall. They're built for performance, but again, you have to be realistic in our market. If you're looking for a tire that will give you one, cushioning ability, because remember, tire also cushions you from the road imperfections. Do you remember the cart and horse, those days in the 1800s? It was very uncomfortable ride because there was no cushioning, there was no air. So the reason why they put air within the structure of a wheel is to cushion the ride. So the thinner the sidewall, it means the lesser cushioning. So applicable on very good tarmac, but when you're doing rough, bumpy roads, you need a high-profile tire. So that is the reason why. So as you check and you're going to buy, ensure that that particular tire is actually fantastic for your daily needs. If your person lives in Syokimau or Rongai, on those areas, high profile. If you live on the leafy sub on the west side of the highway, then you can do your low profiles and you'll be fine.
I love this. I've got comments for you from Patrick Otieno Okeno and Evans Kemboy. I'm seeing more questions are coming in and comments, so I'm going to be getting back into that in the next hour. We've got more conversation to have here. Plus, today we had Black Box and Lolita Holloway. A lot of people was pleasantly surprised that song was sampled. Someone is saying you took us back to the days of F1. There was F1, F2. You're saying you partied hard. Good old days. Let me tell you, there was no social distancing those days. The good old days. But yeah, we get to reminisce right here on your favorite show. It is The Spice Drive. The host of Cars with Big Boy Trev on KTN Home. And yeah, he's a car enthusiast. You can just call him Big Boy Car Trev. Like, he's got cars. Car information at the tip of your fingers.
Yes.
You know, in my mind, I was just about to say something so interesting because in my mind, you've got these little car toys everywhere. Your furniture, you know, replicas of car model, everything.
Yes.
Trev, when you're not talking about cars, what else do you do?
What do I do? It's an interesting question. Music.
Right. Music?
Music. I do a lot of music.
Yeah.
I cook.
Nice.
I cook.
Nice.
So anyone who's, who knows me, knows that I throw down seriously well.
Oh, he loves throwbacks and he loves to throw down. Trev, you're just right up my alley. I see us being very good friends for a mighty long time. Yes. I had a poll on Twitter earlier when we started off the show and we were talking about the greatest throwback era. You know, we've got people you wouldn't imagine who are stuck in the 70s. Others are all about the 80s flavor, 90s vibes. Ruth on Facebook says, well, something about the 90s. And then we've got the people about the early 2000s. What's your favorite throwback era?
90s.
90.
Anytime.
You're not even flinching.
No.
You didn't even think twice. You're like, 90s.
Yeah, because I lived in both eras
Right.
and majority of the music and the transitioning from New Jack to R&B to New Age kind of music was around that time.
Right.
So, I mean, for me, 90s is just the best era for music.
Fantastic. All right. You know, you get to school me about cars, and today we had an interesting conversation. I'm seeing a lot of people loving the content. Joseph Mungai, you're saying tuned in from Nyandarua County, enjoying the show and learning a lot from Cars with Big Boy Trev. As in the line, people call you Cars with Big Boy Trev. Like, they just don't separate it. Anyway, his name is Trev. You can follow TreySticksF1 on Twitter, and you can keep asking your questions. The question that I saw here was all about retreads. Retreads?
Yes, how safe are they? So basically, retreads are tires that are able to be regrooved after they sort of have their end of life. So you'll find them in trucks. You can find them in passenger cars. They are safe to an extent, but I wouldn't advise you because at that time, back in the day, tires were a bit expensive. But now with the opened up economy and there's so many people selling so many tires at different levels, you're able to buy and afford a new tire. So your safety is important than saving a penny or two. So just get yourself a brand new tire once it ends.
And someone here is talking about the number one factor for her. Her name is Monica. You're saying, for me, it's durability. That's what I look for. And people want, how long is this going to last me? And when we're talking durability, how long are we talking? How often should I change my tires?
It depends with your driving style. Now, if you're somebody who likes braking all the time, unnecessarily.
But you have to in this city.
well, you have to, but you have to be gentle on your technique.
Got it.
Okay, not every time you're on emergency full-on brakes, you're stepping like this. So the way you drive also affects the longevity of your tires. But on average, for an averagely good driver with good tires, say mid-spec tire, mid-level, it should do you about 20,000 kilometers, roughly about 2 years. If you're not somebody who, overuses your tire, over braking and climbing rocks and doing some crazy stuff.
Right.
Just driving your car, gently taking it from point A to B, making sure that you don't go to areas where there are plenty of potholes. Even just the behavior. There's some people who just run over bumps and potholes, without caring. That affects the longevity of a tire.
Right.
So you have to be very careful. If you want long life, then number one, choose a good tire. 2, drive gently.
Nice. It's all about technique, y'all. It's all about technique. Durability, it's all about you. Patrick Otieno Okeno, you're saying when I'm driving in my home area, especially in the rainy season, the car tends to turn from the rear whenever I intend to brake because it's hilly.
It depends. It depends on your technique of driving. I'm assuming your car is also rear-wheel drive. Basically, rear-wheel drive means the power is on the back wheel. So if you just overpress the accelerator, the wheels will spin and you lose traction and probably it will swing away. Okay, that's called understeer. So again, it depends on your technique. When you're driving in a muddy area and your wheels are sort of bald and you have rear-wheel drive, just be careful.
Fantastic. It's Radio Day with Big Boy Trev. You can follow using the hashtag CarCultureKE. And of course, there's another page, Cars with Big Boy Trev. That's on Facebook. So keep your comments coming in. We get to do this every single Thursday. I love it. And I never let him leave before I indulge him in social issues and relationship matters. So I know you cook. So I know automatically your in-laws, would-be in-laws would love you. Today's Trendmill topic is all about what are some of the things you can do to win over your in-laws, to have them in the bag. Is there a way to have them love you in your corner? When you're joining a new family, you just never know what to expect. They could just warm up to you or things could go south. What are some of the things you can do? Someone earlier mentioned with your mother-in-law, all you need is just a little bit of cash every once in a while. It's like a second wife. You have to just maintain her and things will be hunky-dory.
It's a catch-22, if you ask me, because mother-in-laws are different depending on where they come from, their demographics. It's just different. Here's the thing. Take time to learn them. And once you learn them and learn that subtle trait that they like, then you'll have them in your corner. So, for example, if you go in with the mentality of over-pleasing, you come out to them as somebody who's trying too hard.
Right.
Okay, and if you're somebody who's too laid back, they'd also question and say, this person can't take care of our daughter or our son. So it's a catch-22. So take time to learn them. Create a relationship where you're learning. You're not overbearing them, or neither are you just aloof. You have to be in the middle. And once you get that note where that you understand this is the person, this is what I need to do to win them in their corner, trust me, it's like the password. That password will open you to the family and everybody else. Because remember, when you're getting into a new family, you have to learn. When you go to Rome, you do what Romans do. So you understand the likes and dislikes. So perhaps you should probably befriend the sisters or brothers, get to know them. Even the person that you're getting married to, and ask them to tell you more about their parents and their culture. Because at the end of the day, you'll be part of them. So
of
you
course.
need to understand.
Yeah.
Correct.
And this is something, interestingly, someone pointed out on social media, and they said, well, you have to treat them the same way you treat your own family. Everyone is an in-law somewhere.
Correct.
So never forget that. I love what you're saying. And of course, I love hanging out with you on Thursdays. Don't leave. I have to talk to you about something else. I'm seeing more comments coming through on the hashtag Spice Drive. We've got a good record rumble here today. Right on time. Black Box going up against Lolita Holloway. Almost said Hathaway. Yeah, Lolita Holloway. So make sure you stand by to get voting. It's 10 minutes past the hour, and I'm going to be joined by a special guest. I hope you're streaming spicefm.co.ke. Always a pleasure, Big Boy Trev.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
And Sunday on KTN Home.
Yes, Sunday, 6:30 p.m. Make sure you catch Cars with Big Boy Trev. Mercedes GLC, the brand new edition. full of tech, safety, and it's a Mercedes-Benz. So if you love Mercedes-Benz, then tune in. And I forgot, Digger Classifieds,
Yes.
which is part of the Standard Group,
Yes.
are relaunching. I'm very excited to be part of the project.
Oh, that's a throwback.
When you know the Midas
publication.
touch, big boy Trev
Nice.
touch, everything becomes. So if you're looking for a car
Yeah.
and you're searching for the best deals, so just go on to www.diggerclassifieds.co.ke or go to the Standard Media website, probably get the link towards that, and you'll be able to find all sorts of vehicles for you. So exciting content coming soon. I will be mentioning it next Thursday. Plenty of more stuff coming, so I'm quite excited. And finally, before I leave, I'm going to shout out somebody from the United Kingdom. He's the mastermind of Cars with Big Boy Trev.
Yes.
It's called Benjamin. He's in Dorset. Benjamin is tuned in right now. Big fan of the show. And he says, make sure that Big Boy Trev shines. Which I mean, happy.
Shout out to
place.
Benjamin from Dorset. Family's getting bigger. I've got more guests coming in and more conversation, throwbacks and therapy, and everything is on here. Sugar, spice, and everything nice. I'm getting you home. I've got some Foxy Brown. And my guest is on standby. I hope you're streaming spicefm.co.ke.